B2B marketing is going through a massive shift, and the companies that don't keep up will be crushed by the ones that do. My name's Sam Dunning, and I've helped dozens of B2B tech, SaaS and service companies scale with SEO and other B2B marketing channels. I've also interviewed over 400 B2B marketing leaders and founders on my podcast, Breaking B2B, to know exactly what's driving growth at some of the fastest B2B companies. Now, I'm going to share the exact strategies and frameworks you need to know to drive growth at your company with B2B marketing this year. Let's dive in. First up, we've got the absolute foundation of any B2B marketing strategy. We've got B2B customer research. And even though it's the foundation, even though it's the backbone, so many SaaS, tech and service companies completely neglect it and wonder why their marketing falls flat. Well, why do you need it? Well, first and foremost, it's going to help you work out your ICP, your ideal client profile. It's going to help you work out their most frustrating, expensive and bleeding neck pain points and problems. It's going to help you know the impact if they don't fix those issues. It's going to help you know their goals, their jobs to be done, and their motivations. Also, why they choose you, so your differentiation. What do you do that other companies don't, so you can stand out in a crowded marketplace? Plus, it's going to help you nail down the types of clients that have those pain points, understand the impact of not fixing it, and are motivated to solve them. Plus, the ones that have cash to easily invest in your offer, so your marketing, your resources, your ads and more can be best placed in front of those dream clients that want to get the job you help get done. And before you think, oh wait Sam, we interviewed some customers last year or we did a survey a few months back, chances are you didn't get insights as detailed as this, you didn't follow a thorough process, and you're not doing it as a regular feedback loop, which we're going to go into. So what should you be asking customers and who should you be interviewing? What's the process? What's the questions? I'm going to share 10 questions I recommend as a starting point. You can tweak these to suit your ideal client profile and your product and your offer as you see fit. So first and foremost, we want to interview 7 to 10 ideally recently won customers. Why 7 to 10? Well, we found that's a sweet spot of when we start seeing patterns in the answers and responses that we get given. Why recently won customers? Well, they're not biased. If we interview long-term existing clients, they're going to love us. They're not going to say anything that offends us to give us the real juicy feedback, improvements, ideas, problems, etc. We actually want to improve our messaging, our marketing, and beyond. If you don't have 7 to 10 recently won customers, get who you can, then maybe go after some target prospects that fit your ideal client profile, or maybe go after some longer term clients if you have to, or possibly some recently churned customers, some recently lost customers, because they'll be probably not hesitant to give you direct feedback as well. So once you've got that list of customers that are open to being interviewed, you might have to offer them a quick incentive, whether that's perhaps a small discount or an extra feature to their usual offer, or maybe you offer them a meal voucher, whatever makes sense for your offering. Set up the session time, do it on Zoom or Riverside or similar, record the session with a tool like Fathom or Otter so you can easily get a transcription of the call. And then 10 of the questions that I typically like to ask when I run my customer interviews are, first off, what were the exact problems you were facing when you came to us to help? Number 2, what was the job that you were trying to get done? As an example, maybe you were struggling internally with spreadsheets or trying to, let's say, pretend you provide a CRM solution. Maybe you were struggling with spreadsheets and spending 10 hours a week trying to put all this data together. It was getting really frustrating. It was actually annoying some of your staff, and then you realize there must be a new, better way. Number 3, why did you choose us over the competitors that you're evaluating? I'm sure you're evaluating 2, 3, 4 vendors. What was that point where you decided that we were the right choice for you? Number 4, what almost made you not decide to work with us? Be blunt as possible. What was perhaps the thing that maybe almost put you off, or maybe some hesitations you had around working with us? Be as transparent as you can, it really helps. Number 5, what was the impact if you didn't fix that problem? So going back to the spreadsheets example, like what would have been the repercussions if you didn't get that job done? Maybe you lost time, maybe you annoyed staff, maybe you churned staff, maybe you lost cash, whatever it was. Number 6, what was that tipping point? What was that point that you finally reached, that most frustrating moment that finally made you say, I need to get this done. I need to evaluate some vendors. I need to go to Google, or I need to search for this, and I need to finally get this new system in place. Number 7, what was the main outcome you were hoping for? What was the end kind of objective, the end motivator, the end thing you wanted to have happen, and how did we bring that to life for you? And the other thing is, with this number 7 question, it can also give you insights for a testimonial or review video. if you're getting insights from a recently won customer. Number 8, what were the other vendors you're evaluating? The other companies that you were checking out. Now, this is going to help with your general market research so you know who you're up against. Also, if you're doing competitor pages from an SEO standpoint, it's super useful. Number 9, I love this one. What do you hate most about our industry? What really frustrates you and grinds your gears about our industry? Be as blunt as possible. Is it they usually have pushy salespeople? Is it their messaging normally sucks? Or is it the websites maybe hide pricing? Like, be as transparent as possible so we know exactly what we need to fix. Last off, number 10, where do you go to get your trusted information from? Where exactly do you think is trustworthy? What channels do you hang out on? What platforms, etc.? This is going to inform things like if they listen to podcasts, or if they go to Google search, or if they use AI search, or if they read publications or articles, or if they have Slack groups or communities, so you know where best place to spend your marketing time. That's 10 of my best. Like I say, tweak them for your industry, your sector, or your niche. So once you've ran all your customer interviews and you've used a recording tool and then you've transcribed them, what you want to do is look for patterns in the responses. So now you can understand what the most common responses are to things like your customers' most expensive problems, the impact of those problems, their goals, their jobs to be done, their motivators, what annoys them most about their industry, where they're starting at, where they're trying to get to, why they chose you opposed to other vendors and the other vendors they're typically evaluating, and much more. Look for those common responses, look for the patterns, make a note of those, perhaps use a Google Sheet or a Google Doc so you can note down the most commonly said responses to each of the core questions, note down the language they use, the actual words that they describe, their frustrations, their pain points and their goals, so you can really hit home with your dream clients and you can really understand your ICP, where they're at, their struggling moments and where they're trying to get to. And now you can fuel everything from your messaging on your website to your ads, to your content marketing, whether you're producing podcasts or videos, so you can really speak to pain points, goals, and motivators of your dream clients. This can fuel everything from inbound marketing to demand generation, to videos, to cold outreach. So you're actually hitting home with your prospects. You're really targeting those specific things that they care about, rather than just general guesswork marketing where you talk about how great your company is, awards you've won, or funding rounds, or how many years you've been in business. Ditch all that nonsense. Focus exactly on what your customers care about, which is usually reducing risk, solving frustrating and expensive issues, or getting a really hefty goal or important milestone achieved. So doing the groundwork of customer research alone is going to differentiate and set you apart from many competitors that just won't take the time or effort to do this. So now you're going to know exactly where your dream clients are spending time, where they're getting their trusted information from, and what they really care about. So your messaging, your ads, your content marketing, your videos, whatever kind of inbound demand generation or outreach you're going to be doing is not only going to hit home, but you're going to know the platforms or the channels you're going to need to double down on that your dream clients, your ICP, spend time on, so you can make best use of your internal resource or your marketing or ad budget. And make customer research a regular feedback loop. It shouldn't be a one and done. The more insights that you can pull from dream clients, the better. So whether you can do that as part of your onboarding flow, whether you can do that on customer success and support calls and regular account management calls, and pulling in customers for interviews every few months, so it's a regular cadence. So you're constantly getting insights from the market, not going on guesswork, but really going about what your dream clients care about. So ultimately you can get more return on any marketing that you put out there in the B2B world. Next up, let's talk about the 95-5 rule. So some research from the B2B Institute at LinkedIn. It talks about that any one given time, only 5% of our total addressable market will be in buying mode, actually actively looking for our offer, solution, and being in a position ready to buy. This shows us that a huge chunk of our ICP, our ideal client profile, are not in market, are not in buying mode at all. So 95%, a huge chunk, not ready to deal with us or buy or review options. So what should we do? Well, we should have a system with our B2B marketing that tracks, collects, and captures that demand. So the 5% that are in market actively looking for our offer, we need a system to capture those and drive qualified leads, calls, demos to our sales team. And vice versa, for those 95% that are not ready, perhaps not even thinking about our offer, we need a way to build mindshare, build trust with that market. So if they do have the problem we solve, or they do need the end outcome, or they are struggling with the job we help get done, done, we want to stay top of mind, we want to educate, we want to entertain them. So if they ever do need our offer, if they fit our ideal client profile, we are the first brand of choice, the only choice that they decide to partner with when they're ready. So I'll dive into how you can achieve that and how you can stay top of mind, how you can win the mind share game, and also collect active demand in a second when we talk about content marketing. Next up, I want to quickly talk about a strategy I absolutely love on how you can start chipping away at market share, especially if you've got giant competitors in your industry, in your sector. So this is all about taking those insights from your customer research, but also looking into any CRM data you've got about clients and the industries they fall in. So the clients that you've historically sold well into, that have those problems you solve, that are motivated to solve them, also have the cash to easily invest in the offer and are motivated to get the job done. So if you can look at those industries you've sold well into, but also look at the industries your giant competitors are underserving. So if there's any sectors, any niches or similar that those giant competitors are just not serving as well as you believe could be served. So you can start focusing and doubling down on those with your messaging, with your outreach, with your inbound marketing, with your ads, with your demand gen, and really look to dominate and exhaust that underserved niche. By the way, if you're looking to leverage SEO to rank higher in organic search on Google and AI, but perhaps lack the resources internally to make it a success, why not book a call with us at breakingb2b.com to see if we can start driving sustainable pipeline for your business with SEO, or hit the link in the description below. Back to the video. So let's talk about some B2B marketing fundamental organic inbound channels. So we talked earlier about the 95-5 rule, the fact that any one given time, only 5% of your total addressable market will be in ready to buy mode. One of my favorite ways to actually collect that demand and get prospects that are actively in market, searching for your offer, your solution, your service, maybe comparing options or looking for the problem you solve from Google search, is SEO. So why consider SEO? Well, ad costs are constantly rising across different platforms and channels. SEO, the good thing about it is you're not paying for each and every click. What you're building is an asset. So each page, article, or whatever you publish on your website, you're building out owned assets throughout your site. You're increasing trust. So a lot of folks place more importance in the organic search results as opposed to sponsored results on Google, and it's evergreen. So just think about when you do a search on YouTube for a how-to or an example video or some tips and tricks, you might see videos that are a few months old, but you might see videos that are years and years old, and SEO is just the same. Your landing pages, your product pages, your articles and similar can rank not just in the short term, so the next few weeks or months, they can rank for years to come, driving traffic and most importantly, driving organic inbound leads, demos, signups or calls for your business around the clock. But sadly, when it comes to SEO, a lot of B2B tech, service and SaaS companies fall into what I call the traffic trap, meaning they target top funnel, more informational based queries, things like what is a KPI, how to build a website, or what is a CRM, which are very unlikely to result in inbound calls, demos, or leads. In fact, it's probably for prospects really early in that research journey. And a lot of those informational based queries and top funnel terms are being wiped out by AI overviews that was recently added to Google. So instead, we want to focus on time to value. We want to drive leads or calls or demos or signups as quick as humanly possible for our B2B company. So we should focus on commercial intent, high sales intent, keywords and topics, aka money keywords that are going to drive inbounds as quick as possible. So from a tangible example, if we provided calendar scheduling software, that might be looking at terms like best calendar scheduling tools or software or platforms, or looking at competitor alternatives. As we know, prospects usually evaluate 3 or 4 vendors before making a decision, so they might be looking for things like Calendly alternatives or Calendly pricing or Calendly reviews, where we could then pitch our product as an alternative with how we stand out, our differentiators based on customer research. Or also they might be searching for jobs to be done or problem-based keywords like how to schedule meetings with prospects without back and forth, or how to avoid being ghosted when booking sales calls, or things like that. Those pain points that are often brought up in sales calls, again, leveraging that customer research for those golden nuggets and targeting those topics that we know high intent prospects are going to search for when they need the offer, and then we can position our product, our tool, our software, our service as that painkiller with plenty of social proof and examples. And what you find is these commercial intent, these money keywords that have much higher buying intent behind them, typically have lower traffic and monthly search volumes, but they're much more likely to result in pipeline leads and revenue. And I have made a bunch of videos recently dedicated to winning at B2B SEO on the Breaking B2B podcast and YouTube, so feel free to check those out. But the crux of it is, once you've worked out the money keywords you want to rank for, have a look on Google. What type of pages are ranking? Are they articles? Are they landing pages, comparison pages, listicles, or something else? Review those and work out how you can completely blow them out of the water. Make your page better in every single angle in terms of the expertise, the authority, the trust signals you send, the examples of social proof, reviews, case studies, and more. Leverage those customer insights. If we've got an FAQ section, let's handle real objections. Let's share our points of differentiation. Let's make this page better than whatever's ranking right now, every single way possible. And then, if it's a competitive keyword, let's look to earn backlinks from trusted niche relevant sites by leveraging partners, by leveraging PR, maybe guesting on podcasts or similar, so we can start sending trust signals to Google, boosting our authority, getting more lines in the water for more topics and pages, and starting to drive a sustainable flow of pipeline through organic search and SEO. So some other organic channels, especially to get in front of that 95% of dream clients that are not in market looking for your offer or needing your offer right now. But if we can position ourselves as an authority, as a trusted brand in the space, as the solution to any problems they might have, when they're ready, they'll most likely reach out to us. So firstly, my favorite is probably YouTube and podcasts. So in our example, we run the Breaking B2B podcast, where we put out weekly episodes around B2B SEO, SaaS marketing, and we even interview B2B marketers and SaaS marketing leaders to share what's working for them to drive growth today. So we're looked as a trusted resource by B2B marketers, founders, and SaaS marketers. But what could you do in your niche? How could you create a show or a YouTube series or similar so that your dream clients would tune into it? Now, it could be in the accounting space. Maybe you give dedicated tips to a certain type of accountant. Maybe you run weekly interviews or monthly interviews with folks that you're looking to break into the account of, i.e. maybe whoever runs perhaps it could be their financial directors within some of your target industries, and you look to interview them with an enjoyable, practical, educational episode. Or maybe you do solo episodes, a bit like I'm doing now, where you give specific strategic tips or how-tos or examples on the topic. And another route you can go down with podcasting is, if perhaps you don't want to run your own show, you can find out the shows that already have your dream clients tuning in. There's a great tool called Listen Notes, where you can go onto the Listen Notes website, you can type in your target industries, and you can look at the top rated podcasts within your niche, and then reach out to those hosts to actually guest on their shows. Great way to build up your own PR, to get in front of an audience that's actually captivated, that fits your ideal client profile, and it actually can drive some inbound leads too. Another one of my favorites is LinkedIn, especially building a founder brand. So LinkedIn, as you probably know, is the biggest social media when it comes to B2B. So much opportunity here, just because the chances are, if you are in the B2B space, your prospects could well be hanging out there or spending some time on there. So if you can position yourself as a thought or industry leader, as someone who's super trustworthy within your niche, within your sector, it's a way to drive inbound leads, create partnerships, create opportunities, hire staff, and much, much more. How do you do it? Well, I use quite a simple process when I'm building up my own brand on LinkedIn. So in our case, at Breaking B2B, we want to be known by B2B marketers, B2B founders, SaaS founders as the only choice when it comes to SEO for revenue, not vanity. So each and every day, I'll create 1 or 2 posts sharing actionable tips around SEO, or conversations that I'm having, or examples, or case studies, or weird experiments, or videos, or memes, or skits, or man on the street videos, all different ways to stand out, give advice, entertain folks, stop people scrolling in the feed, do stuff that's a bit unusual. So as and when they are maybe struggling with SEO or maybe annoyed with their current vendor, we stand out as the company of choice. So you can do much the same, whether that's your founder or yourself as an exec within your company. Look for ways that you can do similar in terms of the content that you push out, but you can also engage with other folks in the feed. So another great way to get folks looking at your own profile is to comment on, could be potential prospects, it could be folks that are in a similar industry to yourself, so you can get more eyeballs on your own content. And the other thing to consider is to actually treat your profile page as a landing page. So you've got the banner area, you've got your profile picture, you've got an about section, and you've got some references. So rather than treating it that folks used to treat it as an online CV, treat it as a landing page, so it clearly shares exactly what you do, problem you solve and how you help. You can now, if you're on LinkedIn Premium, you can have a call to action, visit my website link within there. In the About section, you can talk to those top 2 or 3 specific problem or pain points that you solve that you can gather from your customer research we talked about earlier, and then maybe have a CTA section. And LinkedIn's also got a nice featured section so you can direct folks to your newsletter, maybe your podcast, or directly to your website. And the only other thing that I like to do a lot of is LinkedIn allows you to connect. I believe on Sales Navigator, you can, if you've got Sales Navigator added, you can connect to around 200 prospects each and every week. I think it's great to exhaust that each and every week. Make a list in Sales Nav of those dream clients that you're going after and shoot them a connection request so you can grow that network and get your content in front of more and more folks. Therefore, you can build your trust with more of the market. You can get in front of more of the market with your content, and you can drive more inbound leads and opportunities over time through the power of LinkedIn. Next up, let's talk about paid media. So if you want to capture the 5% of your market that is in buying mode looking for your solution right now, then Google paid ads can be a great way to do that. So instead of SEO, you're paying for each and every click, but it's often a quicker way to get those sponsored ads in front of those prospects that are directly looking for your offer or comparing alternatives or looking for solutions that solve their problem specifically. So Google Ads is a great way to get in front of that 5% and then direct them to tailored landing pages. Or if you want to stay in front, if you want to stay top of mind, if you want to build trust with the 95% who are not in market but fit your ideal client profile, then you could consider ads like LinkedIn ads. So right now we're starting to run thought leadership ads at Breaking B2B so I can get my top performing LinkedIn organic content, but serve that to cold audiences that fit our ICP, but perhaps not in market, but we'll start seeing my content. So in our case, tips around SEO, SaaS marketing, and similar. So we can start getting them into our ecosystem. Maybe they'll check out the podcast or check out the newsletter. And over time, some of those will become customers when they're ready to buy. So you can do exactly the same for your niche, the industries and the ICP you focus on. Plus with LinkedIn ads, you can retarget website visitors. So maybe folks that you've driven through SEO or paid ads or similar, you can retarget them to stay top of mind as and when they're ready to get in touch. Next up, let's talk about the foundation of your marketing efforts, where all of your traffic from your ads, from your organic marketing strategies and beyond are going to be sent to, most likely, is your website. Now, your website is working 24/7, and it can either be your very best or your very worst salesperson, depending on how you treat it. It can either be constantly attracting, building trust with, and converting dream prospects into leads, demos, signups, or sales calls, or it can be doing the opposite, repelling them, annoying them, and sending them away. Over the years, we've launched over 310 different sites for B2B businesses. We've learned the hard way on what does and what doesn't work. Some common mistakes B2B companies make time and again is, especially on their homepage, talking about things like how great they are, awards won, funding rounds raised, and similar. When if you did just a little bit of customer research, you'd probably realize that most of us are pretty selfish. We care about what's in it for us as opposed to how great you are. So flip that to your dream client's world, especially on things like your homepage hero top banner area. How can we specifically show exactly what we do, how it helps our dream client, and why they should choose us, and then guide them to a relevant call to action, whether that's check out our work or book a demo or view our results or grab a free sign up. Everything on your website should really be using that customer research as the foundation. So whether that's homepage initial messaging, whether that's value propositions, whether that's some of the key content they care about seeing, so we can leverage those insights that we've learned to make sure our website resonates with those target prospects. Now, when it comes to sites, some of the learnings that I've gained from interviewing over 400 B2B marketers, founders, and execs on Breaking B2B is things like when they stumble across a B2B site and what they want to see quickly is exactly what you do, how it helps them, proof of results, so social proof, case studies, examples, testimonials, video reviews, and more. They want to see how much it costs, so they want to see clear pricing, no speak to sales, actual pricing tiers or brackets of ranges of price. They want to see your product in action. So if you're a SaaS company, maybe you've got a video breakdown, maybe you've got a live demo you can play around with or similar. If you're a service provider, maybe you've got case study videos, breakdowns, walkthroughs, guides, or similar. They want to get answers to their common questions or objections or similar. You can even weave those into some of your key pages. And on the base you check all those boxes, they want an easy way to speak to sales. So most likely a calendar scheduling tool so they can quickly pick a time that suits to them and get a time scheduled with an expert. Next up, we've got regularly reviewing your CRM and sales pipeline. It's super easy to think that one channel or platform is doing really great because it's driving loads of leads or MQLs, but then when you look on the back end, none of those are actually converting to qualified demos, qualified sales calls, or worse of all, to actual revenue, cash in the bank. So you want to be able to track your CRM from opportunity created right through to closed won revenue. That's one part of the equation, because it might look good on paper that one platform or channel is driving tons of leads, but when you look at if anything's actually turned into cash revenue, it might disappoint you. So regularly make a process to sweep through your CRM and see what channels are performing. When it comes to actually getting that data, I recommend doing a range of steps. So one, on your calendar scheduling forms or inquiry forms on your website, make sure you ask, how did you hear about us, as an open text field, rather than a drop down, so folks can actually put how they found you, whether that's Google search, podcast, ad, whatever. Then ask a similar question again on the actual sales call, the initial sales call. Ask something like, what was your route to stumbling upon us today? Or what was your journey to finding us today? Again, record that with a tool like Gong or Fathom or similar, so your sales rep's actually making a point to ask that. Then use that as the second data point, and maybe ask a follow-up like, I know I don't necessarily inquire of every website that I take the time to visit. What was it that made you invest the time when you found our site to fill out our form or to schedule a call with us today? That's going to give you a bit more of a golden nugget. And then the other side of the equation is to actually use analytics tools to track, whether that's Google Analytics, whether that's another tracking tool in HubSpot and similar. So you can basically get 3 or 4 pieces of the puzzle to pull together to really see which channels or platforms are actually pulling through when it comes to driving the right kind of leads, as well as the data in your CRM. Last up, we got a super fun one, running experiments. So this is all about taking those insights from those customer research calls and trying out platforms or channels that we haven't used yet, but our customers or our prospects are saying that they do spend time there and they do get trusted info from there. So for example, it could be you decide to try out a podcast, building your own podcast, or maybe guest on other people's channels or shows, or maybe you try a new advertising channel, or you try SEO, whatever it could be that your prospects are saying, this is where I go to get trusted information or educate myself or entertain myself. You go in with a hypothesis, right, we're going to try it for 3 months or 6 months or a year. We're going to dedicate this much budget or this much internal resource to it. These are going to be the early signals of life we'll look out for, and these will be the kind of more higher intent signals of life. So early signs of life could be more traffic to the website and key pages like demo page, pricing page, etc. And later signs of life would be things like actual direct demos or calls booked, or folks mentioning on sales calls that they heard about you from this new channel or platform. And then once you've run the experiment, you either decide whether it makes sense to carry it on because it's had those positive signals, whether they were kind of early signs of life, like more traffic to the website, those folks going to key high intent pages, maybe then mentioning that new platform or channel on sales calls, and later actually driving qualified demos, booked calls or signups. Or if it simply didn't perform and you gave it a good enough test that made sense, whether that was 3 months, 6 months, 12 months or such, ditch the channel. You've learned from it. Your customers said it was worthwhile. You gave it a fair test. No problem. You know not to do it again. You move on and you try the next channel when you're able to. And there we have it. Those are the B2B marketing strategies we're seeing work right now. And if you're a B2B tech, SaaS or service company that's just tired of seeing competitors above you in organic search results on Google or AI search, meaning they're stealing traffic, mindshare, and inbound leads around the clock, then why not book a call with us over at breakingb2b.com. We can chat through where you're at now, where you'd like to get to, and see if we're a good fit to start driving sustainable organic pipeline and revenue for your B2B company. That's breakingb2b.com, or hit the link in the description below to grab a call. Or if you're not ready, then check out the Breaking B2B podcast or Breaking B2B newsletter for B2B and SaaS marketing tips, episodes, and more. And with that, I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.